Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony FX3 and how I rig it out for commercial work for my clients. So we're going to get right into this video. I'm going to start out with the FX3 itself, and what I have here is the Kondor Blue FX3 cage. So it fits both the FX3 and the FX30. I like it because it offers multiple ports along the body where I can hook up accessories. We already have it clamped on here to the FX3. So as you can see here, we have a HDMI clamp, so when you're hooking up your HDMI cable to the FX3, it allows it to stay in there without any wiggle or any play, and it just provides a more secure connection. We have RE plates right here, RE locking pins for any accessories that you mount here on the left side. On the bottom here, you're going to notice that it has some hex keys, so if you need to tighten any bolts on the cage or any accessories that you have on the FX3 or on your rig, it makes it very easy for you to do that. On the right side here, what I do have is the FX3 with this handle that I will link to that I got from B&H. It just provides a nice handle grip for me to put on here so that when I'm doing run and gun motion, or if I just want a more secure grip, I can have my controls here on the FX3, and it just makes it more comfortable for me to use. So now that we've gone over the basic body with the FX3, let's start building this out. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hook up the top handle that comes with the FX3. I'm going to go ahead and attach it on here. So just like that. And then you have these twistable knobs, which make it very easy for me to attach. Most of the time I will go ahead and I'll use a tool to help adjust these and tighten these a little bit further so that when I'm moving around, they're just a little bit tighter. But for this demonstration, for this video, we're just gonna keep it very loose and very simple. On top here, we have the Kondor Blue extension handle, so it gives me a little bit more room for me to grip the top handle, and it adds more ports. So you have a cold shoe here on the back, you have RE pins on each side of the handle, and then you have this NATO rail on top, as well as several 1/4-20 holes and another RE locking pin here and here. So it's super useful, and then it provides enough clearance here that if I need to get to my audio sources on the top handle, I can do that without any problems. So we're gonna keep on building out this rig. Next up is going to be this base plate and dovetail from Small Rig. I got the 12-inch base plate because I wanted something a little bit wider that when I'm putting this down on the ground somewhere while I'm setting up my tripod or other accessories, it would just stay flat, and so the 12-inch is perfect for this. We also have this, I believe is carbon fiber base plate from Small Rig, and so it uses an RE style plate. I would not recommend going for this one. I'd use something a little bit smaller, like Arca Swiss or a Manfrotto, just because it's a more common plate type, but I like it for what it does. It's very secure. It features two bolts that you can use in order to secure to the bottom of the Kondor Blue cage, and it makes it very simple. Plus I like this slide mechanism right here to secure the camera into the base plate. So we're just going to make that, and we're going to make that happen just like this. It slides in, you hear that confirmation lock, and goes into this pin right over here, and then you just go ahead and you tighten it by moving that, and you're locked in. So now that we have this set up, we have kind of the base of our camera rig, and what we can do if we need to is we can adjust this dial right over here on the left side, which allows me to move the camera on a dovetail wherever I need it to and adjust the balance as needed. I really like that feature, and that's part of why I got the dovetail too, to make it very easy for me to make adjustments with the balance as it sits on a tripod. For this example, I'm going to be using these 15mm rods. These are, I believe, 18 inches, and most of the time I try to avoid using these rods unless I'm building out this rig to where I'm going to be attaching multiple pieces onto here. So in this case, I'm going to be showing you what that looks like, and you can adjust it as you see fit for your own needs. So we're going to have the two 15mm rods here. I'm going to go ahead, and each rod slides right in here on the base plate. So it's very easy. I'm gonna give it a little bit more clearance, that way I can attach more accessories as we go through this video. We're gonna have the other base plate over here, other side of the base plate over here with the 15mm rod. So this setup will require power, and because of the power draw from both the FX3 as well as the monitor that we're going to use, I have found a couple of options that work depending on the situation that I find myself in. If I am doing a shoot that doesn't involve too many accessories or too many needs, and I'm just using the camera by itself, then what I will do is I will use this KMTV base plate, and I can use one of their mini V-mount batteries, place it on here, lock that in, and then attach this to the 15mm rods, and we're good to go. But if I'm using the monitor does have a heavier power draw, and so what I found was this KMTV dual base plate, which basically allows you to use two of these batteries, and it treats it just like one big battery. Since you're only technically allowed to carry a 99 watt-hour battery on an airplane, I find that just using two of these together kind of gives me the equivalent of a bigger battery, and I can still just fly with these as needed. So what we're gonna do for this is I'm gonna go ahead, take two of these, lock them on here, and it has this nice light on the front side where you can see, you know, what the power status of your battery is. It's not perfect, and I do plan on upgrading these to the small rig V-mount batteries, or switching out this whole back assembly for something a little bit more easier to read. Just to have that detail while you're working makes it a lot more reliable and easier to understand as you're working on other things on set. So we're gonna go ahead and take this big battery now, and we're gonna attach it to this base plate. And then take this base plate, and we're going to go ahead and put this on my rig right here. You tighten the screws, and once you tighten that, you now have this setup. Now, what I like about this is because you have the adjustability right here, you can always open up your LCD screen as needed. I like to give a little bit of clearance right here, where if I need to flip this out in order to see what I'm doing, then that's always an option. Generally, this right here is going to be my base setup, or a variation of it depending on how much power I need in the back. And then as you go around, you have your lens choice, you have room up here if you need to add any more accessories. What I'm going to do now is show you what this looks like once I set it up for both live streaming, or if I need somebody to view the feed while I'm working, as well as just ready for anything and everything. So easiest part, we're gonna take off the batteries, and that makes it very easy because now we have some room back here for us to attach additional accessories. We're gonna have more room back here than we are up front, and up front I like to dedicate that towards a matte box, which I'll show you in a little bit. But first things first, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna flip out the LCD screen, that way I know how much clearance I need when I'm attaching other accessories. Because of how the FX3 works with the Atomos Ninja and Atomos devices, I use this when I need to get raw footage out of the camera. And so not only does it serve as a monitor just because it has a bigger screen than the LCD screen, but if I need that raw footage and I need that raw recording capability, then I have that with this. So this is my Atomos Ninja 5. I have a small rig cage on it, and what I use to connect it to the rig is this small rig monitor mount. It's going to have their Hawk Lock top on it, and if you're familiar with the fall cam piece where you just attach one piece to your monitor or your device, and then you have this very easy release mechanism over here on top of your ball head. You just go ahead, push that in, snap that together, and you're good to go. And with this side, it's a NATO piece, so you could take this and go ahead and slide this and then tighten this onto the NATO rail on top of the handle for the FX3. So I'm going to do that right now. Next up, we're going to have matte boxes. So I like this one from Small Rig. When I was doing my research on different types of matte boxes, I found this one to be the most versatile. It gives me the options that you can use basically any generic type of filter, which is going to be the 4 by 5.65 inch filter size, so the rectangular filters. And it's more common to find those where you can just slip those into the matte box, and it allows the option where you can have an expander where you could add 2 more filters on top of that, so you can get these effects that work to whatever you like to design. Right now I have just the basic filter in here, so there's no filter. I do have the variable ND filter here as well, so if I need to adjust the variable ND, I find this easier than having a circular ND sometimes on top of the lens, just because it gives me more control. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox this, or unzip this rather, and inside you get 4 rings to adapt, and 4 step-up rings to adapt your lens to the matte box, which is going to have a 95mm filter thread, and that allows you to clamp on to the matte box. So with the lens that I have attached right now, it's going to be 67mm. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take that filter thread, grab that. We're just going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and screw this on. And forgive the noise. And next, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and, just for the weight of this thing, we're going to go ahead and add the lens support. I want to show you what this looks like all together. So this is the matte box itself. You have space for filters right here. So you can add in whatever type of filter that you would like, black pearl mist, fog filters, UV filters, whatever fits the needs of what you're trying to do. If you have a heavier setup on the front end, this is going to help take some of that pressure off your mount. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and take this and go ahead and screw this in here to the bottom. Now what I find is that for me, if I put it where the logo, Small Rig logo is facing towards me, then it just makes it very easy for me to adjust it on the railing. So once we have this set up, we take this and we're going to go ahead and use the 15mm rods to line this up, and it just slides on there. And as you can see right now, it's not reaching because of the dovetail. So I'm gonna go ahead and come on this side over here. I'm going to adjust the dovetail a little bit, and then go ahead, slide that back, and then I can go ahead and slide this in like so. And we can tighten these knobs like that. And then make sure to tighten the matte box onto the lens, just like that. And now we are good in that capacity. And then we just slide the dovetail back to a position where it's not in the way of the lens support. Go ahead, tighten that like that, and we are almost ready to go. Finally, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a wireless transmitter to this rig. Now, with the wireless transmitter, what that's going to do is allow us to monitor the signal from another device. So I'm using the Hollyland Mars 4K wireless transmitter. It works where I can either use it for a director's monitor, or if I want to use it for live streaming, I can do that as well. And I'm going to show you how I have this set up right now. So right now I have the Hollyland Mars transmitter over here. It has a 1/4-20 mount here at the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use this monitor mount right now connected to this rail mount. So for the 15mm rods, we're going to use that to attach this right here. Go ahead, and because the monitor, the LCD screen on the FX3 is going to be over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this on the right rail. Go ahead and tighten that. And we are basically there. So now we have the Atomos Ninja recorder over here. We have our mat box. We have our wireless transmitter. And this is all built around the FX3 and the Kondor Blue cage. And then we just toss on the batteries. And we're good to go. So this more or less is my setup. And now I will show you how I connect all of this together. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add a dummy battery from the FX3 and connect that to our D-tap on the battery adapter back here. So just gonna stick that dummy battery right there, run this cable through our setup. And I like to bring it around where it just stays out the way. And so that powers the camera. On this side over here, we have our HDMI cable. Now this cable is going to go ahead and run from the Atomos Ninja to the FX3. And I really like this cage because it allows you to open the door and still attach your cable. The previous one did not, so that's a huge improvement. Thank you, Kondor Blue, for doing that. It's minor, but it makes a difference. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the dummy connector that came with the Ninja 5. We're gonna go ahead and connect that over here. We have a barrel jack to D-tap connector from Kondor Blue. And so we're gonna use that on the other side over here to connect to the battery plate. And so now we have the signal coming out from the FX3 going to the Ninja 5. And now let's go ahead and we're gonna hook up the transmitter. So the Hollyland Mars 4K also comes with an option to do a D-tap connection. So I have this barrel jack to D-tap connection. We're gonna go ahead, plug that in, and it's just going to go, and I'll show you all. It just goes over here on this side. Plug that in. And because of the batteries that I'm using, I can go ahead and kind of slip that back over here and onto this dual plate. And it just plugs in right there at the very top. And now we have power there. Now there's one more cable that we have to hook up, and that's from the Ninja 5 to the wireless transmitter. So we're gonna go ahead and take our HDMI cable on here, plug it into the Atomos Ninja 5, and then take this other side of the HDMI cable, and we're going to just go ahead and we're going to plug that right here on the Hollyland Mars 4K. And that is our setup. So to go over it, we have the Sony FX3 with the Kondor blue cage. This is outputting a signal to the Atomos Ninja 5, which we can use for monitoring and recording. If we need to use a raw signal, we can use it for recording that. We have the Atomos Ninja 5 feeding a signal out to our Hollyland Mars 4K. So for both monitoring or live streaming, we can use it for that. All of this is being powered by these two batteries back here that are mounted onto this battery plate. And so everything just runs off of one setup, and it is hot swappable. So if you need to, you could take off one battery and switch it out for a fresh battery as you go through them. And then finally up front here, we have the small rig matte box with the filter options. Right now we have no filter in here, but you could put in whatever filters that you like. And that is it. I hope this was very helpful to you. If you found it helpful, be sure to hit like. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit subscribe. You can find me on all social media at Creeseworks, CREESEWORKS. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you for sticking around, and we will catch you in the next video. 1.